All right.
This is Friday night, June the 24th, I believe. Finally, it's happened. With some right and left turns along the way, we finally got this show up and running. This is the Hard to Name podcast. And I'm joined alongside me with my good friend Adam. Adam, this is a new venture for us, my friend. An outlet, so to speak.
Indeed.
Welcome and thank you for agreeing to do the show with me. I feel like we're going to have a good time.
I'm all about having good times. That's my MO.
You were born a rambling man.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock.
But yeah.
Well past my bedtime. But you know what? I'm putting in the work. It's time to stay up late.
Well, let's let everyone know where they can find the show at real quick. Get it out of the way. The cheap plug for the show. Also, you can see me on Slam Pigs Podcast. Just uploaded a new episode of Corey the Bagel Guy, special guest all the way from Alexandria, Virginia. On the Vicky TMD, hit that like, subscribe, always subscribe, and feel free to comment. Adam, what's on your mind, man? Like, what's been going on with you? Maybe a little bit of history on maybe your gaming taste. This is a gaming/pop culture show, I would say. I mean, we can talk about anything. There's no filters, you know what I mean? So, I mean, what's going on with you, my friend?
Not much lately. Over the last, I'd say, I'll limit the history over the last week or so. Been dabbling in some of the older games with Lily, my daughter, which is neat because now she doesn't just like walk into walls anymore. You can be like, hey, you got to jump over that.
Yeah.
She'll start jumping, so she's at that age now where an NES game is actually doable. So been going through a lot of that stuff.
Right on.
Catching up on some Turtles comics and going through some Witcher DLC. And playing Slump.
Your daughter's going through Witcher too, or you're going through the Witcher?
No, I'm going through Witcher. She kind of pops in and pops out for Witcher. She's not really crazy about it. She likes riding the horse. That's about it. Which is okay.
Right on.
There's that's a little bit advanced. I don't think she's quite ready for the Witcher.
Just a tad.
Just a tad advanced.
Like that's so funny. It's kind of like what happened to me when I put Battlefront in, because my son's like so about Star Wars. I turned it on. I'm like, here, try, and he's just like, what do I do? Like he's just is so advanced for kids sometimes.
like a
really?
couple months ago, I downloaded Grand Theft Auto 3 on the PlayStation 4 when they re-released all that stuff, and I let her play, and immediately she just started attacking police officers. Like it was like die cops. I was like whoa, you can't do that. But, you know,
let's tone it down.
Tone it down.
Let's attack the politicians and the businessmen.
Anytime I've ever
anybody in a suit, attack them.
Well, I used to always tell her like, oh no, honey, I'm just borrowing this car. I'm gonna give it back to him. Stealing's wrong. Oh yeah. No, I'm just helping them work out their muscles. Just giving them a massage with the baseball bat. So I tried to be very creative.
Like kids, does that speak for like, I don't know, just like all the technology and what it does to kids now? Like the games you and I grew up on are very similar, very much old school 2D platformer guys. You know what I mean? Action platformer, that whole retro era. When we were kids, if we had a game, like, would you go right for the cops, you think, when you were a kid? Because I'd always, like, even today, if I play a game like Skyrim or Fable, I choose to be good initially. I mean, I'll be bad later. I'll complete the, but, like, I don't know.
That's a pretty interesting concept. I don't know. I'd lean towards good, I would say, for the most part. However, my brother, who is 12 years younger than me, just will like be like, fuck Megaton. I'm just blowing the fucking shit out of this place. And that guy's got a hat that I want. I'm gonna kill him. And he just goes around murdering and pillaging and playing as a pretty evil dude. So I don't know if that's an age gap. I always just thought it was because he was a bit of an ass. But
yeah, I mean, we were so conditioned to like be the hero in games as kids. I mean, you had your Belmonts, your Mega Mans, all that, like across the boards. Very rarely back then where you like had the chance to be the villain until like I'd say like Mortal Kombat's came into play. Technically, Splatterhouse, I would say Rick is like a tweener character. I don't know if he's really good. I mean, he is doing. I don't know. That's a whole other. That's a whole other fucking segment. But yeah, back to what I was.
Play the Raptor, Jurassic Park. That was
True.
pending
That
on.
was like, yeah, that was like '94, I think.
I mean, I guess that's a bad guy. Like, you're not really a bad guy if you're a raptor. You're just trying to do your thing and be a raptor. But from the human's perspective, you're the villain, I suppose.
Well, the humans were actually the villain in that movie. I mean, they look what they contained. So
everybody except for Jeff Goldblum.
Century.
He was obviously the hero of the entire franchise.
Definitely. But yeah, I've actually just.
What was the first game where you could play as a bad guy? Like
what
through
was the first game?
Yeah.
That I played it, where it was like that.
Yeah, where you could just be a bad guy, or you were a bad guy, or you were an anti-hero.
That's a toughie.
That is a toughie. I can't think from the beginning. I could try.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Frankenstein. Wait, no, not because you killed Frankenstein. I don't know what I'm talking about.
And I don't even fucking. I don't know if anybody actually played Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Fuck that game.
I never even knew about it until obviously the Angry Video Game Nerds. So I was just having this conversation the other day though about about a first memory for a game. What would you say, since this is episode 1 of the Hard to Name podcast, great way to kick it off too, your first gaming memory, like the very first game you ever remember, like in the background playing, doesn't matter.
I totally remember. It was a flight simulator. And
oh yeah?
Yeah. My parents are still together, so I was probably like 4, maybe.
Was this on Commodore 64 or?
It was on a computer. It was on a computer in my parents' room. My dad had this flight simulator that was basically a bunch of lines and beeps, but with some kind of. It was not a pretty-looking game, nor was it particularly fun. But that was definitely the first experience I ever had with any kind of video game.
Right.
That thing was awesome, even though I guarantee you if I played it right now, it would probably not be awesome.
Oh yeah. A lot of those early flight simulator games are like by pixel, just the whole frame rate is ridiculous.
Yeah, but it was for, I guess, 1989. It was probably kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was well before.
It was mind-blowing back then.
I didn't get an NES till I was probably like 5 or 6, so a couple of years after that. What was the first thing that you remembered?
First gaming memory that I ever remember is actually probably neck and neck tie with Super Mario Brothers 2 and Mickey Mouse Capade for the NES. And yep. I hate Mickey Mouse Capade. I hated that game as a kid, and I hate it today. It is a cool bastard.
Dang. I got down with that about a month ago with Lily, and I was like, I got this shit now. I'm a fucking adult. I'm about to show this game what the fuck is going on. I remember this fucking crazy shit. I'm going to get these stars. I'm going to shoot the shit out of everything. And I made it to level 2. And it was like, well, this is still pretty fucking hard. There's not.
Then I made it to level 2.
Yeah.
After all that.
It's like, hey, all right, I'm ready. It's been 25 years, motherfucker. You're going down. And level 2 comes around, and I'm like, yep, fuck, I'm stuck. Fuck this game.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, there's about all the games that were level 1 and you're fucked. Like Pitfall: The Mind Adventure. What the fuck do I do? The Lion King. I hate that fucking game.
Oh
it's
man.
so hard.
Yeah, The Lion King. Well, not only is it hard, but it's also not fun.
It's not fun.
Aladdin was hard, but it was very fun for the Sega Genesis. I love that game. Actually,
yeah, that's a good game.
That's a solid game. Everybody's like, fuck the Sega version. Super Nintendo version.
It's just a lot. It's a lot harder than the SNES version, but it's still a good game. If you get as most platformers at the time with the SNES Aladdin game, you can get your timing down and shit, just like you would with the Contra. But the Genesis one doesn't fuck around. It's all about swinging your sword like a madman.
Dude, I did the Cave Escape on this very first one solid run all the way through last time I played that game. I just sat down and was like, hey, Lily, check out this game. It's based on Aladdin. You're going to love it. And she's like,
On the
wow.
SNES?
No, on the Sega.
On the Genesis?
Yep.
Right
I
on.
just sat down and beat it and start to finish, like an hour and a half. I was like, wow, this is way shorter than I remember it being as a kid. But yeah, that game.
I remember Vector Man is like that. I remember Vector Man being a lot longer as a kid, but now I can beat that game in like, give me an hour tops.
That's another. I've never beat Vector Man. I played both of them. I remember that was kind of like
can't
the big
beat the
thing.
second one.
You would
The second one is very hard.
see them at like Toys R Us, and like the kiosks. You always see Vector Man in there trying to sell the Genesis console. I don't think I ever actually had Vector Man.
I played it on Sega Channel as a kid because my brother, I would go to his house and he would have Sega Channel.
Fucking kids today. No.
He also had the Virtual Boy.
No clue what a Sega Channel is.
Yeah, they're shit.
That is the coolest fucking thing.
Barely know what a Sega is. The only reason my kids know what a Sega is because it's on my game shelf, my Genesis. Other than that, they'd have no fucking clue. Is that band that mommy listens to with that Phil Collins guy? No, it's Game System. So, yeah, man, you're right. Kids today, no. Shout out to all the parents out there.
Was
get it.
Super duper weird. That was a really, I think, ahead of its time concept.
What was that? What was the concept you said?
Sega Channel. I think that was.
Oh yeah, that was revolutionary at the time. Well, it was the Nintendo one before that. You know what I'm talking about?
As far as I didn't even know there was. I know Nintendo had something like that for the 64. I thought, but that was.
No, they had one for the the Super Famicom, but it was only in Japan, and it didn't last. It lasted like a year. But it would there were like exclusive Zelda games and like an exclusive, I think, an Earthbound, whole other like spin-off game that you could only play at like certain times of the day. It's crazy. Like I watched this thing on YouTube, where you can find us here on the Hard to Name podcast, right here on free YouTube, where we don't see it out. But hey, it's not about that.
You can pay us money and then watch it for free. That's the real business model.
You can pay us money, and we'll invite you over. Yeah, we'll invite you over to one of our houses, and you can make us dinner. You can watch the show with us free of charge.
Yep.
Just got to bring the groceries.
And you're super quiet. No talking, or you'll sit outside. That's the rules.
Yes.
So.
And take your goddamn shoes off.
Take your shoes off. That's Patreon.
Take your shoes off.
No, second channel was legit. That was I had that. That was cool. It was a good way to test out a lot of games.
I remember Sega Channel being frustrating. Like if you'd almost beat the game within was it every 2 weeks they changed the games? I think
it's every month. I thought it was every month.
I thought it was well, whatever time it was, it always pissed me off because they'd change it and I couldn't finish it. It happened so many. That happened with Contra Hardcore. I can't believe it. I was like so many games like that. That's something else to talk about possibly. The games that I was so good at as a kid. Now I pick it up. I'm just like. Total shit. Like Contra Hardcore is such a hard fucking game now for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I've never really been a big Contra type of dude. I think I had Contra for the NES, but it was super duper late. I think it was probably even after I had my SNES. I ended up with a Contra.
Oh yeah.
The same thing with Mega Man.
By that time, it's been done plenty. By that time.
I played Mega Man a handful of times when I was a kid. It was like, fuck, this game is hard. Like, I don't want to play this. This is not fucking fun. I just keep dying. And, like, what the fuck? I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. I didn't really understand the concept of, like, hey, I can change my weapons. Or there is a reason to change your weapons. So just kind of, like, banging my head against the wall. And, yeah, fuck Mega Man. It wasn't until years and years later that me and Marshall ended up racing through them. And that's what, where my love of Mega Man came from.
It's like I didn't even play a Mega Man game until like Mega Man X. My parents got me, and I even as a kid I had no clue why they got it for me because I was never into Mega Man, but I still loved it. But that was it's kind of an easy entry into the series by the X series. It's a little more laid back, but the difficulty's still there definitely. But I think you told me before because. We tried to do this before, guys, and the recording fell through, so that's another reason I said this show has been a long time coming. I think last time we mentioned, You never played the X games, really, right?
No, I've started Mega Man X like probably 10 or 15 times. Like, all right, I'm doing it this time. Nope.
I mean, as a kid, you had never like really.
Oh no. I didn't get a Super Nintendo until after I had a Nintendo 64. I did everything super duper backwards. I like leapfrogged a ton of shit.
Oh jeez.
And then I kept
That's
going
really
back.
odd.
Yeah. Well, I was a Sega. I had my Sega and I had my Sega CD, and I had a Nintendo, and that's really all I needed. The Nintendo would like go places with me, and my Sega would usually sit at my house. And then I had a Game Boy and a Game Gear, and that's all I had for a long time. And then Nintendo 64 came around, and then I was like, wow, Nintendo 64, this is like crack cocaine. This is fantastic. Yeah. Or like originally like taking turns with my sister.
To this day, I think the 64 still has like the best wrestling games ever. To this day, like No Mercy, WCW Revenge.
I didn't like
at least in that genre.
I think WCW games fucking killed it on the 64. I don't think the WWF games did.
Oh man, I think they added so many features by the time the WWF games came. They were so much better. You could have ladder matches. Like the first time ever, you could have a ladder match in a game.
What was it? It was World Tour, and then what was the second one? WCW versus
Revenge.
NWO or something. Yeah, Revenge.
Yeah, Revenge.
Yeah, fucking. I don't know. I was at that point really into WCW, and I didn't really give a lot of shits about WWF. I was like, fuck that. Got the Wolfpack up in this bitch.
Yeah.
Who needs WWF? And then, eventually it all kind of bled together.
The game that got the most play on my 64, honestly, was Mario Kart 64.
That's
even back then.
Maybe one of the best games ever made.
I was talking about this the other day also to our friend Tannen. Shout out to Tannen. He'll be on the show next week, guys, so stay tuned for that.
Tannen, how about that? Ooh, that's right. I said
shots fired.
Shots fired.
Hey, you know what? We gotta get you guys on, and I gotta moderate. But Tannen can have a time limit too.
Tannen better have a time limit, and I want my time limit to be double what Tannen is. That's right. You heard it here. Tannen, I get twice the time limit that you do, and I'm only gonna use half of it.
Hot off the presses. There it is, guys. The gauntlet's been thrown down. Tannen, we gotta get this done. We'll go for episode 3. We'll try to get us all on. How's that?
That'll work.
But yeah, I mean, 64, I mean, it revolutionized a lot of genres, but it kind of fucked over a good many others. Like, look what it did to Castlevania. Look what it did. I don't know.
That's another weird thing. I was super into Castlevania 64. I went from Castlevania 1, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, and being like, fuck this game. What the fuck? And then playing the Game Boy one, and like, man, this game fucking sucks. What the hell? One good game.
Yeah.
And then Castlevania 64 came around, and I was like, man, this is so much better than that Game Boy game. Little did I know, Symphony of the Night had also been released, and I didn't play that for years and years and years and years later. So Castlevania 64 was leaps and bounds better than the Game Boy Castlevania. So, and even Castlevania 2, I just couldn't figure that game out. Castlevania 1 I liked. I would rent it all the time. I never owned it, but I'd rent it like every week and get to about the same spot.
I remember renting Castlevania 64 from Books and Things video as a kid. You remember Books and Things?
Yeah, I remember Books and Things.
I don't think it's still there. I don't know.
Hashtag
shout out to Books and Things video.
Yeah, the Books and Things are gone, man. I'm pretty sure they're gone. I used to rent from Farmhouse out in the South End.
I was going to say I'm not shouting out Hagerstown, Maryland.
Big ups, Hagerstown. Hashtag Hagerstown.
No.
Hashtag don't go to
Hagerstown. God. But that being said,
Things, Hagerstown, and you fucking ruined it. And now your city's in the dumps. Look what happened to you. You should have fucking.
Thank you for bringing it full circle. I can remember what we were initially talking about. We're talking about we're in Pennsylvania from Books and Things.
I just throw out hashtags, man. I got to keep you on your toes.
I was thinking hash browns. I just want some hash browns now.
Hashtag
all I talk about hash. Hashtag hash browns. That's like a tongue twister. God.
Front flip,
if you come
back
in
flip. I was
between 5 and 11. If you come in between 5 and 11 today at IHOP and say hashtag hash browns, you get 25 cents off your meal.
I was playing something the other day. I kept trying to get Lily to say front flip, back flip, like as fast as she could, repeatedly. That shit's impossible. You can't say it. And if you listen to this podcast, go ahead, say it. Let yourself sound stupid all by your lonesome while you're listening to this. No, to the listeners. You can try it. Go ahead. Front flip, back flip. Just say it as many times as fast as you can. See how many times you can get in.
I'm not going to do it.
They
can do it at home.
Don't be scared. You can do it. I believe in you.
Guys, let us know in the comments down below if you think that's doable. If you don't just flat out don't feel like doing it, let us know if you thought about it at least. But yeah, I hated Castlevania 64 as a kid so much. I was really upset, and it's one of those games I read over like Angry Video Game Nerds talks about. It blows your whole weekend as a kid. That's all you had to look forward to.
I loved it. I thought I feel like it is definitely. Maybe it doesn't hold up today, or maybe it didn't even.
I feel
hold
like
up back
you're acting like Gary about the Castlevania 64.
No, I do love.
I feel like Gary has entered your soul for a second.
Well, there was a really interesting thing where if you bought stuff like along your journey from this shady fucking merchant in that game, you kind of fucked yourself out of the good ending. So if you wanted the good ending, you had to play it without ever buying anything from this asshole. And I remember
you'll never see the good ending.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, I beat that game up and down. That game was a lot of fun.
Well, let's talk about something that is fun for both of us. Resident Evil 7.
Resident Evil 7. Yes,
We both played it. We both played the demo, whatever have you. The little 20-minute, the beginning hour, I believe it's called.
Wait a minute. If we're going to talk about that, it's kind of a recent thing. You shout out spoilers. You tell everybody, hey, if you haven't played it, fucking spoilers. It did just come out.
Yeah, guys, go ahead. I don't know, skip what, like 2-3 minutes ahead if you don't want to hear a spoiler on this. But yeah, spoilers. So
let's skip ahead, or don't, or just let yourself be spoiled. If you haven't played it yet, what the fuck have you been doing all week? It's just been out for like a week. Get your shit together, listeners.
I've literally owned a PS4 for 3 days, and it's one of the first things I downloaded. So there you go.
You've already done it. What's your excuse, average person that's listening to this? You've got none.
Who are you? Tony Robbins?
Fucking Tony Robbins.
He's a giant.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to fight him. Unless I was like...
I wouldn't want to fight Tony Little either. Tony Little is a fucking beast. He's not dead, is he?
Probably.
The guy with the ponytail and the baseball hat. The exercise, but he was always in like spandex with a baseball hat.
I think he is dead, but I can't remember if it's just him or everybody else that ran an infomercial.
Well, I'm not shouting out you, Tony Little. Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck those hashtags. No hashtags, Tony Little.
No hash browns either.
No hash brown hashtags.
But anyways, yeah, Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, so spoilers, mannequins. Everybody knows they're pretty much the scariest thing on the planet. And they make an appearance in this thing. So
yes, they do.
Yeah, very scary. That was maybe the scariest part was the mannequin.
Yeah, that was really creepy.
Yeah,
I got the chills so bad, like Silent Hill style, when I had to go down into the basement.
Yeah. Brady was like, "You're not going to go back down there, are you?" I was like, I
think I have to.
Waking. Where I'm supposed to.
Yeah. And then waking up, and then like you have to go back there again just because you have to. You have to see what's up.
Yeah.
Awaken. Yeah, that was really creepy. But I thought it's an interesting direction for the series. At first, initially, and this is something I'm sure we'll dive into later, The Legend of Zelda, I was a little disappointed. I kind of thought they took the easy way out. I mean, it still looks great. I don't know. But we're on Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to be great games. It's just when your expectations are so high, obviously they get shot down. And it's getting over the initial, then accepting it. The second stage, yeah, you know.
It's the hype train, man. We live in the age of the hype train. So, anytime there's what's that other fucking game?
It's no Money Train with Wesley Snipes.
It is definitely no Money Train with Wesley Snipes. But the Last Guardian, when they finally gave that a release date after fucking 10 years of it being in development, and I always thought Ico and Shadow of Colossus were completely overrated games in general. But even if this game turns out to be almost as good as everybody wants it to be. That's not going to be enough. Like, it's going to have to completely blow everybody away, and I don't see that happening. So, I think it's also funny we told everybody to skip ahead 2 minutes because there's spoilers, and the only thing we said was mannequins. We're like, yeah, so, mannequins. Fucking
well, hey guys, if you skipped ahead, watch out for those mannequins, and the joke's on you. So.
There's no other spoilers besides mannequins. Moving on.
Yeah, I think the change is good. I mean, I think Resident Evil gets a lot of unfair hate. I mean, I didn't think it was awful.
I like shooting.
Going back to basics. By 6, it had evolved into an action game, and I know the movies are like that, but I'm not a fan of the movies really either. So
I'm not crazy about the movies, but 6 took a lot of unnecessary heat. I feel like had that game been anything else that wasn't called Resident Evil, people would have been like, man, that was an average game. But instead, everybody's like, wow, that game is fucking awful, and it wasn't scary, and it wasn't like a Resident Evil game.
Let me pose this. 5 or 6? Which one would you prefer?
Oh man, I played the fuck out of 5. I only played 6 one time.
I'd go with 5. 5 was the better game.
Yeah. However, if you're not playing with anybody, I think 5 and 6 are probably about the same. What made 5 fun for me is I always had somebody to play with. There was always somebody on. There was always, some mission I could help somebody with. There were rotten eggs to dupe. So there's always something to fucking do in 5.
But yeah, I mean, 4 did so much change for the series. Like, 4 is always put on the pedestal. My personal favorite's probably the first one still. Well, here's something that's also really, like, a lot of flack's been getting towards it. Mighty Number 9. I have not played it, so if you've played it, this is 100% like kind of a mini review on you if you have your thoughts on it.
I have not really any desire to play it. Once they changed the art direction, I was like, okay.
During the Kickstarter, I was ecstatic. But then when they, like you just said, when they changed that and saw how lackluster the graphics were, I didn't even know, like, I thought the game, like, I was like, well, the level design and the gameplay will make up for it, because it's a fucking Mega Man game at the end of the day.
Yeah, but that's where everybody fucked up, is it's not a fucking Mega Man game. Everybody's like, oh, it's gonna be fucking, it's Inafune, it's fucking Mega Man time. It's like, well, he's not gonna be Mega Man. There's obviously gonna be some changes made to it. And no matter what kind of changes, when you deviate away from the Mega Man formula, in any direction, you're not ending up with a Mega Man game. You're going to end up with something like Mega Man, but so right there,
with Mega Man Light.
Fucked up. Everybody's like, this is what we want, but I knew right then and there, you're probably not going to get that. So, but no, I don't have a whole lot of desire to play it. There's got a still big, long grocery list of other things that I'd rather play right now.
Well, Inafune, or however the hell you say his name, came out with a statement. Did you see this? It has a lot of people's panties in a little bunch, talking about something onto the gist of like, well, the game got released, so just be happy for that. That's exactly what he said verbatim. Like,
thanks for the $4 million, suckers. No, I mean, I'm sure it's once again, it's just the hype train on that was just too big. This is the fucking internet's fault.
He's no spring chicken either.
We live in an age where as soon as like a concept of a game is announced, people are already like, oh damn, I'm ready for that crazy thing. There's no surprises anymore. There's like 2 or 3 things at E3 that I was like, wow, I feel completely blindsided by that.
I didn't know about South Park until E3.
For real? They've been talking about that for months.
I didn't really pay attention to that.
Yeah, that's...
At all.
But
I played a little bit of the first one on my friend's PS4, but
apparently that was fun. I didn't play that at all either. But apparently it was a lot of fun. But
it was short.
Everybody talks about the things that are coming out, and fucking stupid game companies will be like, well, we might have this game coming out in like 4 years. Let's bring it to E3 and just not even show anything. Let's just talk about it. So they do
We'll
that.
we'll tickle your taint, but we won't put the tip in.
Fucking Mass Effect. Why do they keep talking about Mass Effect? And they've got nothing to show for it, but they keep talking about it, and that people are just gonna, the hype mill is just gonna generate and generate and generate. That's happening with Watch
Hype
Dogs.
train made another stop.
Do you remember what Watch Dogs was demoed at E3 a handful of years ago, and then it didn't come out for like another 3 years?
Well,
and when it did
yeah,
come out,
No
everybody
Man's
was like, oh, fuck that
No
game.
Man's Sky supposedly is supposed to come out in August.
Yeah,
I've been waiting on that game forever.
Yeah, that's another one. I don't know. We'll see. I try not to get too hyped. I'll play it when I play it. It is fun to look forward to some things, but I try to manage my expectations. That way I'm not disappointed. I think that's something that everybody needs to learn how to do a little bit better. There's people that fucking wrote into the No Man's Skies devs and were like, you guys fucked up my entire summer. I hope you fucking die. What the fuck is wrong with you?
God.
Yeah, that's horrible.
I enjoy enjoy the games that we have now, because there's so many great games you can play. Retro, new, it doesn't matter.
Your entire summer is depending on No Man's Sky. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, obviously they're in No Woman's Sky. You know what I'm saying?
There's got to be billions of other things that you could be doing. There's tons of other games that you could be playing that I'm sure you would have a good time with. But
definitely,
I don't know.
Well, speaking of those kind of games, one was announced at E3, Death Stranding, Kojima.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. Fucking everybody's like,
oh, it's weird.
He is a
but
he's a goddamn.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm into it. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was cool.
But why? Why is it cool? Because fucking naked Norman Reedus? Or do you just have
I thought it was
like dead whales?
I have a thing for atmosphere in games, and I thought it seemed like an interesting world to play in. Seemed really I love those games where it's really creepy, and it seemed creepy. Like, even if I really could give two shits about the Metal Gear series, because I never really played it in the first place. So I'm not a huge Kojima person to begin with. I just thought it looked really cool. I saw the trailer and I liked it.
He is a maybe the most popular developer on the planet at the moment.
No, I know that. I mean, as far as his games, I haven't played that many. Is what I know who he is.
No, I mean they were chanting his name. This whole ordeal that he had, this falling out with Konami, has done nothing but elevate his status.
Oh yeah, drink the picture of him with the meme drinking the Konami tears out of the cup.
Yeah, that's awesome. But no, I don't know. He's definitely bigger now than he would have been had he just stayed with Konami. But no, the Death Stranding thing, I don't know. It's a very abstract trailer with really no inclination of what kind of game this is actually going to be, other than if you're.
I'm sure it'll be a third-person game. I'm sure.
Maybe not. Who's?
I mean, I'd say I have a 70% chance that it would be a third person.
Maybe but a scary game, an action game, a puzzle game. It could be any of these fucking things.
Well, all those things you just said is a Resident Evil.
This is great. I love Kojima.
It could be one of those games where it's all of those things, like a Resident Evil, like a Metal Gear at certain times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, we'll see where it goes.
What if it just turns out to be like Norman Reedus crying for 12 hours?
Yeah, I've got 12 hours in, and he grabbed the Kleenex finally.
Walked from this side of the beach to the other side of the beach, just periodically stopping and crying and looking at dead shellfish.
I've got 12 hours in, and I found that baby.
Finally got that baby. Nope, don't have the fucking baby yet.
Nope.
Doing invisible fucking handstands in the oil. Yeah, I don't know. It was just so fucking weird, and I feel like it's super strange that everybody was, because it really is just a completely abstract thing, and everybody's like, I don't fucking know what this is, but I love it. I think that's a really weird take, a really weird thing to walk away with. with something like this.
Yeah, I mean, it can still just be like I'm just interested. I'm not like, oh my god, you know what I mean? But you know, if a game looks cool, I'll give it its due. And to me, it looks like a cool game. It could be a cool game, whatever that game may be. So.
Well, and it's fucking years away. I guarantee it.
Well, you know what is a cool game? Overwatch. I finally got my hands on the game that's taken over the nation. It seems like anymore. Overwatch. Adam, I know that you don't have the game, and I don't know if you've played the beta before. I know, are you a big shooter guy, like FPS guy?
Nope, not really. Not really so much in a while.
I have my spurts, like you know what I mean. But lately, it seems like I have Splatoon, I have Battlefront, I have this. I have all these shooters to play around with. So it's like, but yeah, from what I've played from Overwatch, I know that it has a lot of hype surrounding it, but from what I've seen, it lives up to the hype. Now, I haven't had it as long enough as our friend Gary, who said it got boring after like a week.
Gary will play Team Fortress 2 though, fucking forever. I don't think that's the people that play. Gary is not alone in playing Team Fortress 2 like that. There's a ton of people that.
Oh, I know.
So for Blizzard to come in and be like, hey, we are doing this thing, obviously it's not a Team Fortress 2, but it's a Team Fortress 2 like game, I suppose. So right there, Gary is just, it's not Team Fortress 2. So what's the fucking point?
Right.
And
because he's preconditioned to just feel, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, there's a reason.
For someone like me that never got into a Team Fortress, it has a lot of unlockable content, like there is in Team Fortress 2. There is a ton of equipable stuff, a ton of. The game's really fast. It's super fast. It's one of the fastest shooters I've played that's not on a PC. It's up there with Doom, and I haven't played Doom, but I've seen and heard reviews that Doom's super fast, and I want to get my hands on Doom also. But Overwatch is good, guys. I'd give it a solid thumbs up. If you have a PS4, I would suggest, in my opinion, that you pick this up. You're really missing out. If you're into Team Fortress 2 and you have been, like it's your messiah, like our friend Gary, then I can understand why it might D-tier a little bit. But do you think you'll ever pick up the game, Adam, or do you think that's just something that you're not really into and you don't really care?
I don't really care.
You're more. Well, see, you're all about like Uncharted, and I've never actually gotten to the Uncharted series, and I've heard great things about 4. I heard it's fucking phenomenal.
They're all pretty solid games. All 4 of them. You probably, that's another thing you ought to add onto your list is the collection. It's got 1, 2, and 3 on there. I think you probably pick that up used for probably like $30. But
all 3 together.
Yeah, and that's 3 really solid games. But yeah, I mean the 4th one, fantastic. But usually if I'm playing multiplayer, anything, it's usually co-op, and it's usually with somebody that I know. I'm at the stage in my life where I don't really get jollies out of shit talking on strangers anymore. It used to be fun. I used to be really good at it, but
well, thank God for disabling microphones when you're in your 30s.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. Me and a buddy of mine that I play with shit talked some people in The Last of Us multiplayer, but it's just not the same. It's not the same as it was 10 years ago.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited for all the games that are on the PS4. I've had a Wii for, like, honestly, 3 years. That's the newest system I had. Great system. Great underrated. I know it gets shit on a lot, but it is a great little system. But now I feel like, I don't know, I have a legit, you know what I'm saying, like, now I can really experience the current gen of the top quality games, so to speak. So I sound like a fucking spokesman for Sony. So I'm going to stop. Do you want to go into the top 3, or is there anything else you want to talk about?
Not really that I can think of. I think we pretty much loosely touched on everything. And for those people that skipped ahead, fucking mannequins, Resident Evil mannequins, fucking spoiled that for you. So you get spoiled one way or the other. But no,
there's a bunch.
That's pretty much it.
There's a bunch of ammo and green herbs in the basement. So go in the basement immediately.
Yeah, get in the basement. How fucking Blair Witch was that, though? The basement? I guess we should.
Yeah.
Done with
Where are you, Josh?
Yeah, yeah, fucking standing in the motherfucking corner.
I
God
hate
damn.
that movie. Oh, that's a bad movie.
You know what though? That movie scared the shit out of me. I remember
As a kid, but now it's like, ugh.
I've watched it one time, and I was actually with Gary in the theater, and Gary walked out of there going, "That movie sucked." I was like, "Yeah, that sure did." Meanwhile, I was like, "Fuck, that was a fucking scary movie." But yeah, I was scared. Yeah, I don't like it when people just randomly stand in the corner of rooms. I think that's fucking creepy. I feel like any sane person would find that creepy in any situation.
If you don't find that creepy, go ahead and make an appointment with a therapist.
Go stand in the corner of your office or your place of business or your house when your spouse
And
is
wait.
home. Yeah, just fucking
And just
stand
wait.
there and watch how people react. Nobody likes that shit. It's fucking creepy.
Yeah. There's something about corners and backs turned. Now, if you turn around, they're going to think you're just like drunk or something and leaning in the corner.
Or like pooping in your pants and you don't want anybody to see. But if you're facing the fucking corner,
you have to have your back turned for the full effect.
Just
try it out tomorrow.
Yeah.
You guys listening on, Adam, what are they listening to again, and where can they find us?
They can find us on the internet, and they're listening to this telephone call. That's what we should have named it. This telephone call / hyphen podcast. But I feel like that probably would be too difficult to remember for a lot of people.
I love the enthusiasm, but I think we should probably have more detail.
/ hyphen parentheses exclamation point other parentheses.
Did they enter MS-DOS?
C / and then we'll just that's.
Well, they can / finding us at D&D on YouTube. I'm sure sometime in the near future, hey, maybe we'll have a Facebook group up. Who knows? So it depends how many listeners we get. I know I have a lot of listeners that are into gaming for my other podcasts to do, Stranding podcast, just uploaded with Corey the Bag Guy. Be sure to check that out. A lot of Hibiki Quickies coming up. I'm reaching number 50 out of my 50th game review, and I don't know what the hell to do. I've thought about taking every request that someone has given me and just doing all one video, just a hodgepodge. I don't know what to do for number 50.
I totally know what to do. Yes, and I'll tell you also this podcast, so that way it doesn't spoil it. But I've got just the thing for you.
You hear that? That's just for my ears, guys. So.
Yeah. I've got So get hyped. Get on that hype train, internet. And
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, hype train Wesley Snipes up in this bitch. But no, I've got something that you should totally review for your 50th.
Nice.
Or maybe just hold out until the 100th. That way everybody's got to listen for another 50 to figure out what it is I'm talking about right now.
I just hope it's a good game.
It's not.
It's not gonna throw me.
It's terrible. Oh. Terrible thing. But, yeah, get on the hype train. But yes.
I'm hyped.
Go to Hibiki / -TMD -.com.
And MS-DOS.
And MS-DOS.
And you can play the Oregon Trail exclusively on our MS-DOS page.
Also,
Adam,
let your friends die of dysentery, because they're only going to weigh you down. And if you don't need them to just go hunting. Just let your friends die, go hunting, and you'll make it to the West. Everybody knows this. This is how the West is won, by letting your friends die of dysentery. And don't ever...
That's how treaties are signed.
Fucking ever try to ford the river. If you ford the river, you're a fucking retard. You'll die. And your friends will die.
Yep.
And all that hunting meat will just get washed away, and you'll probably lose a fucking ox. So... Those
graphics at the time of the water rising so fast, mind-blowing.
Oh, man.
Sneaking in your game of Oregon Trail at school when you're not supposed to be doing fucking typing practice or something.
Fucking number munchers. And
oh my god, I love that game forever.
Fucking pizza delivery number game. Do you remember that? Where you're like ordering meat pizzas, the fucking monsters, and you had to use logic to this is hardcore.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later,
hunting was so amazing as a kid. You were so excited to get that hunting pop up.
That's all you want to do. You take like 4 meats and then just like 999 bullets and set off. That's all. That's all you need. Fucking, you don't need extra wagon wheels or anything
That's
else.
all you really need in life too, is just some meat and some bullets.
Some fucking 999 bullets, 4 pieces of meat, some salami, and an ox. That's the American dream.
Yeah.
That's how you get into
That's
America.
solid. That's the American dream, Dusty Road style.
Man, you should do a let's play up the Oregon Trail, and we'll just name everybody Gary and see if anybody Gary can survive. This is what you get, Gary, for not wanting to be a part of this podcast, even though you probably
Gary got bored in 2 weeks. That's an interesting let's play to maybe dive into. I'd be all about it. I love the Oregon Trail. It's a good game.
I think I beat it one time. I think I've actually made it there. And I made it there, I was not alone. I actually did make it there not with everybody that I set out with, because it's a numbers game at that point. Somebody ain't making it. You're going to have to bury somebody out of the road.
Well, Adam, what are the top 3 soundtracks in gaming history, in your opinion? Or do you want me to go first?
We go back and forth. We do number 3, number 2, number 2, number 1, number 1. Sounds
gravy to me.
All right. Have at it. Go ahead.
You want me to go?
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead, and then I'll go ahead, and then you go ahead again, and then we'll get stopped to hunt, and then one of us will die, and then the other one.
Well, I'll go to the store and grab all the meat.
Get the meat. I've got 999 bullets.
And a bitch ain't one.
And a bitch ain't one.
Well, I don't know. Number 3. I mean, this is a hard one. I mean, there's so many. There's 8-bit. There's just symphony music. Maybe for getting me pumped up is what I look for in my. I don't really like. I get it. The Final Fantasy games are good, but the music, but it's depressing. A lot of that music's depressing. I want something to pick me up when I hear a video game theme. So number 3, a game that had really underrated music in my opinion. Bucky O'Hare, probably the stage 2, or I think 2. That game had amazing fucking music.
Yeah, but does the entire soundtrack hold up? That's the thing. Not just one. This isn't now. That's what I call video game soundtracks. Number 40. This is the whole soundtrack. Whole thing's got to hold up. You can't just pick and choose a track. There's way too many games that have 1 or 2 very highly memorable tracks.
I would put the whole soundtrack at number 3. That's what I thought I was doing.
Oh. Well.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know, but yeah, I totally put that at number 3.
So track 2 or level 2 is your favorite out of that album, or out of that?
Probably yes. That album when it dropped. The Bucky O'Hare on vinyl.
Hot shit. Bucky O'Hare mixtape. LPEP /hyphen.com TMD #.
But Adam, what's your number 3?
Mega Man 3. That's easy. Easy. Yeah, that's all the way through. Mega Man 3.
Damn you! Now I got to change one of mine.
Well, is Mega Man 3 up there? Take one of your top 2.
It's up there. Honestly, I think all of mine are NES.
That's the only one of mine that are NES. So, and
top 3 NES soundtracks of all time.
The 2 honorable mention tracks is I would say the Game Over screen from the original Legend of Zelda and the start screen from Gauntlet. Those were awesome. I used to just leave those on and go to bed. This is fucking cool. This is one of the coolest things about Gauntlet is the start screen. So if you haven't listened to that, go put that on your mixtape and drop that LP.
Put that on your mix. Yeah.
Hot shit. But no, Mega Man 3.
Gauntlet was a really fun game. Speaking of games that are more fun with another person, Gauntlet isn't very fun when you're by yourself.
I don't think that's necessarily true because no one fucking knows how to play Gauntlet.
Gauntlet's easy.
I don't think I've ever sat down with someone and been like, let's do this. And
okay, we gotta see if there's Gauntlet online, and we gotta both get it. We gotta play some fucking Gauntlet, and then we gotta stream it for the channel.
There's a fucking PS4 Gauntlet that just came out a couple months ago, man. There you go. Wish number
Well, there
2.
you go, guys.
You're granted.
Hopefully someday we can stream that for you guys.
I heard it's actually not as good as the original Gauntlet, though. So.
Well, do they have classic retro ones you can download too, like the arcade? What the fuck?
PS3 had Gauntlet 2, but everybody knows that game is not as good as the original.
Yeah, definitely.
So
64 one wasn't bad. Gauntlet 64.
Yeah, that one was okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't awful.
Yeah, it was a good little game. My number 2.
What's your number 2?
I'm gonna have to go DuckTales.
It's a solid one. Yeah, DuckTales is good.
I changed out Mega Man 3 for DuckTales.
Okay, that makes sense. Mega Man 3 is still better than DuckTales, but DuckTales.
I think the moon song from DuckTales was my ringtone for fucking like 2 years.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most memorable out of all of them, and maybe the Amazon.
Oh, definitely. The Amazon definitely. It was a good one also.
Did you play the remake of that? That was a lot of fun.
No, I haven't.
Really good job with that game.
I had the demo of it, but I never got the full game. Just like with the Castle Illusion remake.
Oh wow, Castle of Illusion. We were actually just playing that today. Me and Lily.
I only have the demo.
Oh man, that's really, really, really well done.
It seems really good.
I played both of those in like the same week because I think they both released around the same time. And I was never really big into Castle of Illusion originally for the Genesis, just because fucking Mickey Mousecapade burned me so bad when I was a kid. It's like fucking Mickey Mouse. I don't need fucking Mickey Mouse to be happy. So, but no, Castle of Illusion, the remake, that was fantastic. That was really, really good. Solid platforming.
I tell you what, next show, I think there it is. Top 3 Disney games of all time. Old school Disney games.
We could get to that as soon as we get through this, because it's Aladdin, number 1. And I don't think any of them matter. I don't think any of the other ones matter under there. Yeah, Genesis fucking Aladdin. That's it. And then fucking,
I don't know, man.
Obviously Lion King is number 2. And Beauty and the Beast.
I didn't say worst. What the fuck is going on? Where am I at?
There are fucking 2. Man, I know we're super duper far away from soundtracks right now, and I'll get back to it in a second. But there are 2 Beauty and the Beast.
They're just gonna have to get used to that on the show.
Yeah, get ready for the ADD podcast. That's what we should have fucking called it.
Sponsored by Adderall.
Sponsored by motherfucking Adderall. No, the 2 Beauty and the Beast games. One where you play as Belle, and one is you play as the Beast. So me and Lily.
I played the one when you're Beast, and it's like all I could do is roar, and I couldn't do anything else.
And you fucking can't, like, everything's coming to kill you, and you're so big, and your hitbox is so big, you can't move out of the way of anything. And when in the Belle game, you just walk around. I can't fucking figure out what to do. I don't know. Those games are terrible. Those are really terrible. But then there's a Little Mermaid game that was kind of like Echo the Dolphin. I remember.
Very underrated game. I actually I like that better than Echo the Dolphin. I hate Echo the Dolphin.
Well, fuck you then.
You like Echo the Dolphin?
I don't know if I would say I like Echo the Dolphin. Like is a strong word.
You end up in like space at the end of it. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, that's where all dolphins go. Don't you ever watch any Nat Geo? Everybody fucking knows that. They migrate to space during the winter.
Well played. Well played.
Fucking turn on the Discovery Channel some goddamn time, Travis. Fucking know
I'll send you a link, and I'll put a link in the description for YSG for all our lovely listeners out there.
I don't think I've ever made it past like the 3rd. I remember talking to a whale. I definitely remember talking to a whale. But anyways, fucking, speaking of which, that game has a very cool, weird ambient soundtrack. I will give it that.
It does. It does.
Very cool, like.
Some of the worst games have the best music. Look at
I don't know if I would call Echo one of the worst games, or even Simon's Quest. They're definitely a different game, but.
For me, it's one of those games. If I see it on the TV, my heart sinks. I'm like, oh, I want nothing to do with those fucking games at all.
This is not Party of the Wanted. Okay, but anyway.
Yeah.
You're number 2.
You're number 2 for the NES soundtracks. Back on topic.
Well, my number 2 is actually not an NES game. I'm jumping.
Oh, I thought you said all yours were.
No. You said all yours were. And then I said, yeah. Actually, I didn't. Go back. I don't know what the fuck I said. Anyways, but no, it is not. It is actually a PlayStation 1 game, and it's Final Fantasy 7.
Rap of the rep.
Nope. Final Fantasy 7. Oh, you know
There you go.
I'm going mainstream.
Hey, it happens.
That's a solid soundtrack all the way through. It's got really
All the-
sad music. It's got really fucking happy racing chocobo music. It's got it all, man. It's got fucking...
The chocobo music is awesome. I give it that.
Chocobo music kind of makes me want to commit suicide sometimes, but I mean, I guess chocobo music doesn't really change. It's been that way forever. But no, all in all, very, very solid soundtrack.
Right on. I mean, even like a bad Final Fantasy game has great music, I would say.
I can't think of a single memorable track from Final Fantasy 13. I can't think of any memorable parts of that game, except for the horrible, horrible ending. That's all I remember of that game. And killing goddamn giant tortoises for a really fucking long time.
Well, I guess as Meatloaf said, who, shout out to Meatloaf, collapsed on stage like a week ago.
Hashtag
Heard he's doing all right.
collapse.
And when you collapse, there will be hashtag hash browns to catch you.
Man, that fucking bums me out. I hope he's all right. My mom was a big Meatloaf fan when I was a kid, so bat out of hell.
Yeah, he's doing all right. He's doing all right. He's got some congestive heart issues, but apparently he's going to be all right for now. So shout out to Meatloaf. 12 out of 13 Final Fantasies ain't bad, I guess. I guess my whole Meatloaf rant was just for that was the fucking payoff. So I apologize.
I put a lot of time into Final Fantasy 12, and in retrospect, that game I wish I hadn't put that much time in. Not the worst.
It was
Final
also
Fantasy.
announced recently. A remaster for that game recently was announced.
My excitement
I'm really
level
excited.
is not at all existing for that.
Mine is through the roof because of 12. It's one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, like for real.
Everybody, when I finished that game, everybody was level 99. I beat Yazmat. I did everything there was to do. Everybody's fucking grid was full. No more. I don't ever need to play that game again. It wasn't even that solid of a game to start with. Like, here's a game that you can pretty much, if you know what you're doing, just set everybody up and walk around. There's a lot of times where I'd get drunk and fall asleep playing that game with the controller in my hand, just walking, looking for shit to fight. Like, I'm fucking pretty sure I've got this under control, and I just like nod off, and I wake up and my dudes would just be standing there. Like, fuck, I fell asleep again. Yeah,
it did have a lot of walking. I'll give it that.
Well,
I guess
10, but 10
I've reached
way better.
Good.
Way, way, way better. Fucking Blitzball. If you don't like Blitzball, then you're dumb. That's what I'm gonna say. This is where
Blitzball's pretty fun.
Yeah,
I haven't
Blitzball.
played 10 forever.
Yeah, I wanted to play the remaster when it came out, but I didn't.
Well, I guess I've reached the top of the mountain on my list. My number one, I'm probably going to have to go with the original Castlevania soundtrack. My favorite all-time music on the NES.
Really?
Every track just...
Castlevania 1 is good, but I think Castlevania 2's soundtrack is better than 1. It's not a better game, but I do think the soundtrack, there's so many more rocking tracks on the second.
I mean, it's really good. I just think the first one for me is like, I don't know, they're more catchy. Even though like Bloody Tears is fucking amazing, all that shit. But I don't know, the first one, I love the first one. The third one's, even the music's good. I mean, a lot of Castlevania games have great music too.
That's
really
Symphony of the
hard to
Night
do
had
there.
a pretty solid...
Yeah, that's a horror style.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it had great music though. Like, some of it's really creepy. But, I mean, the Lost Painting song in Symphony of the Night, when you're in, like, I think the library, that's actually really creepy. I've listened to that a lot to fall asleep to.
Yeah, I just started Symphony of the Night up again probably like a month ago, and I was letting Lily run through and kill everything. And I was like, I'll probably get through it again this time, but I didn't. I just kind of paused it, turned it off, and forgot that I'd started it until you just brought it up.
Well, what would you say is your number one all-time game soundtrack?
Chrono Trigger.
Oh, good one.
Motherfucking Chrono
Great.
Trigger. Yeah.
Chrono Cross, too, had good music.
Yes, but that game was terrible. I fucking hate Chrono Cross. But yes, the soundtrack was pretty decent for it. Who's that guy? What's that guy's name? Yasunori Mitsuda? Mitsuda.
Yeah, something like that.
Fucking that all up. So, I'm sorry. Hashtag, can't remember that guy's name. But, yeah, that soundtrack.
Hashtag irrelevant.
That and the Chrono Cross soundtrack and Final Fantasy IX soundtrack and Final Fantasy VII soundtrack. When Lily was just born, I just put a bunch of those orchestrated tracks all on a CD, and I would play them and try to get her to go to sleep. So very, very cool, calming, peaceful. Not the kind of music that necessarily gets you pumped, but yeah, I would say Chrono Trigger, definitely number one on that list of video game soundtracks.
Well, there you have it, guys. There's our first countdown on the show, and I thought it went pretty well. All great picks, solid picks. Any could really take the top of any list, you know.
Yeah, all of those could end up being number one, depending on what day or what kind of mood you're in. And there's probably a ton that I'm forgetting. I mean, obviously, I think Zelda.
I'm sure I'm going to hear this, and I'm sure I'm going to hear this in the editing and kicking myself for ones I forgot. So. Speaking of which, go ahead.
There's a lot of memorable, there's that one song from that one game. But I was trying to think of, hey, every single song is good for, and or fitting for this moment of this game. But there's an absolute ton of just decent tracks that came from one game. But maybe one track that completely outshines the rest of, where you walk away and you can only remember that one song from it. Punch Out. Well, Punch Out only has 2 tracks, I'm pretty sure, but that's just throw that out there.
Yeah.
Honorable mention.
The jogging music and the fight music.
Yep.
And the little round start jingle. Yeah.
Man, that's a fun. You ever beat Punch Out?
Yes.
Legit?
Yeah, but
with a game genie or with legit?
With an emulator with save states. I had to beat Tyson. I couldn't take it. It was killing me. It was so fucking hard.
At
least I'm an honest man.
I don't think I've never tried it with save states, but I think I can. And all the people that I don't know. This is something I wanted to address too. I'm glad we brought up emulators. I get a lot of flack sometimes because I record some of my game reviews using an emulator, but I'm using a controller. The emulators are spot on, guys. So I mean, if it's that, are you guys going to buy me the systems? So come on, I'll gladly take a Neo Geo if someone's offering. Shit. But yeah, I mean, I don't see the big deal. It's all about the games, It's all about the Benjamins. That's what Puff Daddy says. And I believe him. I've thought about it a lot. I'm pretty sure.
Fuck Puff Daddy.
He's on to something. I woke up the other morning and man, it's all about something. I just can't put my finger on it. And I thought,
I know what it is all about. It's all about the Hard to Name podcast.
It is all about the
I think this is a great time. This is a great first endeavor into the show. Glad the guys could stop by and check us out. There's nothing really else on my agenda to talk about tonight. I think we went an hour.
Hour 7, yeah, we're good.
Nice. Well, man, like I said, thank you so much for agreeing to be on my channel and help me out. And anytime anybody wants to be on that knows me on Twitter personally, hit me up. We'll see what we can do, work some stuff out, get the kinks out of the show and the editing and stuff. But hopefully we'll be back in a few weeks with me and Adam. Next week's going to be Tannen and Karen, my guests. And Adam, any parting words for the lovely, hopefully not hipster listeners?
Well, I figure Gary, if he did tune into this, he's probably not listening to this anymore. So
that wasn't a direct shot to Gary. Why you got to go right to Gary? You want to say the word hipster? Do you have an agenda?
Do you? No, just me trying to bait him into is it like Rocky 3 when Mr. T just comes up and starts name calling Rocky. Rocky's like, "Whoa, I'll fight you wherever." Mickey's like, "Don't do it."
I'm gonna take the woman.
How about you, woman? How about you, woman? You want to see what a real man looks like? Come down to my apartment. So yeah, that's.
Or you could be like the Hawkster and call him a meatball.
Or you could be like Dragunov and just not say anything. You can just kill his best friends for no good reason. So
yeah.
Fucking those are.
Well, Adam, man,
those are good.
thank you so much. Thank you so much again for doing this. Yeah. I mean, do you want to take us home? I don't got anything else. Like I said before, I hate to sound like a broken record, but check us out on Vicky TMD on YouTube. Hit that like, subscribe, and always feel free to comment. We'll try our best to get back to each and every comment on there.
Especially
I feel like we're going to be pretty
nasty ones. If you leave a nasty comment, we're going to fucking find out where you live, and we're going to tell your mom what you've been doing on the internet. She's going to make us dinner. Right. We're going to make your mom cook us food. And you're not going to get any. Because everybody knows your mom's a nice lady. And she loves cooking food for strangers that you like to be mean to on the internet. So take that, internet trolls. And she hates foul language. We'll tell her. She does not like that. Guess who's screen capping every single F-bomb you dropped in the comment section? Screen capping it and sending it to your mom. That's right. I'm going to So bring on the hate. Bring it on. We embrace the hate. We truly embrace the hate. The Hard to Hate podcast. The Hard to Fucking Hate podcast. So, a lot of free meals. This is Travis. And this is Adam. Travis. And you're the listener listening to this. So, fucking have fun with Tannen next week. Fucks. That's it. That's all I got. So. Well, I think that was a lovely first parting words to the listeners. So. It's a good way to do it. All right, so I'm just going to end this right now.
Hey guys, you can follow me on Twitter at the HibickyTMD. Check out the HibickyTMD Facebook group for everything retro gaming, pro wrestling podcasts, and everything in between. Thanks for watching another video, and thanks for stopping by on HibickyTMD.
Hey, what is going on?